Thank you for joining me on my learning journey. Today we're going to be going over what running score is in the game CONTIG 60. So we talked about placement and about how you roll the die and you create a number sentence with it. So in this case, let's say I created the number sentence 3 times 2 times 3 is equal to 12, and I placed a chip on 12. So that is how you place your numbers. But what does it mean by CONTIG 60? And you know, the name itself actually tells you about the two different ways to win. One of them is contiguous, and we talked about creating a straight line with your pieces, and about how that will be counted as a win if you get a 5 in a row line. Now, what's the other part of it is 60. So what does this mean? This is your running score. So we talked about at the very beginning when I talked about goals, I mentioned running score, but what is your running score? So at the start of the game, you and your opponent each start with 60 points. And as the game keeps going on, you keep reducing from that 60 until you get to 0. And when you get to 0, you win the game. And this is only if the difference between yours and your opponent's running scores is greater than 2. So if you have a running score of 0, you can also declare a win. But how do you get this running score down? Well, the way your running score is calculated is, say I place a chip here, I would be able to reduce my running score by 1. And why is that? It's because it's the amount of chips that the chip you place is adjacent to. So if I placed it here now, after there were 2 there, then I would get my running score decreased by 2. And so, of course, on your very first move, you're not going to be able to reduce your running score. But after the other person has played, you can then place a chip next to theirs, and you can get points deducted from your running score. So you can, here would be 1, here would be 1, here would be 1, here would be 1, here would be 1. So diagonals do count. And so after you play your turn, you record this and your number sentence on your scoring flag card, and you announce, if the running score has changed, you announce what your new running score is. And so that's what it is, contiguous 60. So contiguous, it has to be, you can think of it either as the 5 in a row win, or as the chips you place being contiguous to other things to bring your running score lower. But that is how running score works. So I'm going to do another example here. So let's say that first move was 12, and you have your next player rolling, and they get a 5, a 4, and a 3. So let's say this player wanted to reduce their running score. A move that they could do is 5 times 3, which is equal to 15, and then they could subtract 4 from 15 to get 11, and place a chip there. And because of this move, that would mean that their running score is now 59. So basically you keep reducing that down to 0. So that's it for this learning. Thank you for joining me. I'll really appreciate it if you leave your comments, feedback, and further suggestions for additional learnings below. I'll see you in the next video.